the Legends of Iron. I'm Jon Anderson. Meet my co-hosts, Nick Best and Akim Wiliams. We're going to have some amazing guests on the show. Buckle up tight, because we're going to be talking about the shit you're not supposed to be talking about. We're going to be discussing anything and everything it takes to become a Legend of Iron.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mints. Muscle Mints is the creator of Carnivore Pure Beef Protein Icing. Beef builds muscle, and Carnivore is the world's #1 selling beef protein. Welcome to another edition of Legends of Iron. I'm Jon Anderson. With me, always my partners in crime, Nick Best and Akim Wiliams. And you're actually getting another look at the Wizard of Oz. That's right. This is the man behind the curtain, our producer, Ben. As you can see, his angry dad. He is with us today because we have basically kind of a show update. We've got to bring you some interesting news. First and foremost, check this is an amazing story out. And I'm going to tell you the moral of the story ahead of time is when you think something goes wrong, when you think you don't understand why something happened, look closely, because there's always good within the bad. Yeah. Our main man, Nick, one of our co-hosts, man of the hour in this story, was doing what he always does, lifting heavy in his garage. And he was actually on this set, he was actually filming it so he could put it up on social media. I believe it was well over 400 pounds, 450 something, correct, Nick?
It was like 425. Okay. My jumps like they were going to go like 375, 425, 465, 500. So the weight was basically,
and before I go on, please put your hand up at the screen for everybody to see. Okay, you see the size of that fucking thumb? He grabs a bench press, not false grip. So he's got his thumb around the fucking bar. Well, somehow that bar jumped out of his hand and hit him in the chest. Both of his hands, obviously. Hits him in the chest, 425 pounds. It wasn't, and it was at the top. It's the full free fall. Boom. Obviously crushed him. The spotter got him out of there. It was pretty traumatic. I think you can actually see this on his social media because he posted it when he got back from the hospital. Yeah, so he goes to the hospital, and they check him out, make sure he's okay. They thought maybe some broken ribs. He was fine, but they did do a scan to make sure that he was truly okay. Well, guess what? They found some bad news in his kidneys. He had a couple of very small tumors in his kidneys that we would have never found out about had he not dropped that bar on his chest. So basically, somehow the universe had that bar jump over two of his giant thumbs to have that bar crash into his chest, to have this whole negative thing happen, which basically saved his life, because what the doctors told him was there's one in each kidney, and they tested them. They were growing fairly quickly. So our man Nick is literally just coming on the backside of some painkillers because he had one of his kidneys removed. He's actually here. He showed me the scar before. Looks like he's going to show it to us right now. This is where they pulled one of his kidneys out of his stomach.
So they went in my belly button, 3 up here, 1 in my seam, and then this is the big one where they took the kidney out. My stomach's still kind of bloated from it, but there's not a lot I can do about that till it, like, all the swelling and stuff goes out.
So one kidney down, and they found that they actually has a small tumor in the other one. Luckily, it's much smaller, so they're going to be able to go in, remove that. But what I'm getting at here, so first off, thank goodness that Nick's gone through his surgery, no problems, no complications. The next surgery is going to be pretty minor compared to what he went through, so we're pretty confident there's not going to be any issues. But again, everybody, hear me loud and clear. When you're in some sort of a pickle, when something goes really wrong, look closely, because sometimes these things that seem like such a bad thing are actually our biggest fucking blessings. Literally, had that not happened, Nick may have, that tumor may have gotten big enough where it could have actually taken his life some point later this year. So pretty crazy how sometimes the bad is what we need to make sure that we keep our eyes on what's really going on here. So Nick, after that quite a story. What do you have to say about all that? You're kind of thankful you dropped that bar in your chest, huh?
I'm very thankful. I feel very blessed, and I feel somebody literally take it out of my hand and dropped it on my chest, because I've been lifting 40 years and never had that happen. Nothing ever like that, ever. And, you know, to go in there, they found a hematoma and some bruising on the inside with the CT scan, and the doctor comes in and goes, now we need to have a talk with you about something else. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, there's a tumor in your right kidney. And he goes, and there might be something really small in your left, but we can't tell. So I had to go back 2 days later and do another CT scan, which was confirmed on both. And then I got to my urologist, Dr. Wilson, and kind of from the get-go, he's like, well, this is right in the middle, so we can't like cut the top half off or the bottom half off and try to save part of the kidney. We'll have to take the whole kidney. I just need to find out if it's in your urinary tract, which 4 days before they took this, they did the scope, and they go up your unit to your bladder all the way to your kidney. And
there's only one opening.
Thank God they put me out. And then they put a catheter in between your bladder and your kidney, which you can feel walking around. It's pretty weird. And then it took about 4 days of peeing blood for that to finally stop. And so it's a pretty thing. It's a pretty rough procedure to go through, apparently. So then
here's kind of stopped. Why don't you know, I was going to say, Nick, well, before you talk about this, you've got to tell everybody, once you found out about you had problems coming, you're going to have a kidney removed, and they didn't know for sure what was going to happen. Why don't you talk about what you did over the course of the next month before you had the surgery?
So basically, I tried to heal up my ribs as much as possible. I got blood work done several times. I got another CT, two more CTs done in that time. And then I trained and went to OSG. And I got second to Mark Felix, which was fantastic. I mean, it was great. And then I left my shoes and walked off and called it a career in strongman. But it was fun. I was like, you know what? I'm in pretty darn good shape. This is going to keep my overhead and a few other things from allowing me to perform at my best, but I'm just going to go perform one last time while I can. And that's what I went and did, and had a ball doing it. It was great.
So if that's another one right there, if that doesn't tell you, can you, just because you're not at your best, yes, you can still put down a hell of a good performance. I mean, we're talking about a guy who had literally had tumors in both kidneys and still went and competed.
got second out of 24 guys. So it's not like I was super upset about it, but it came down to that last stone run, and I don't know where that stone run came from. I really don't, because my ribs were so sore all through training. I didn't even do stones once from 4 weeks out, and I went up and just lit up that stone run. I mean, just executed it flawlessly. I was extremely happy with it. So it was a good way to go out. It's a good way to finish.
Absolutely. Well, so go on, continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you, brother, but I think that was just just the fact that you had the balls to do what you did was such a peak part of the story, you know?
Well, it's like, you know what? I got to go through these things later anyway. It's not going to hurt me any worse or make things go any slower or faster. So I'm just going to go do it. I'm in good shape. I won the yoke. Deadlifts, I don't even want to talk about, other than there was baby powder on the bar. But the farmer's walk, I did really good in. The stones, I did good in. The Viking press, I did better than I thought I would. I didn't even think I'd get one. I ended up with 4. So, I mean, it was good. It was good. It was a fun contest. Couldn't be happier I did it. But if I'm in shape, I might as well go do it. I mean,
that's it.
Why not?
That's it.
And so got back from that, did an MRI so they could see exactly where the tumor was. And they wanted to make sure, they couldn't tell if it was in the urinary part of the kidney or the blood filtering part of the kidney completely. So they went in and did that scope 4 days before they took the kidney on January 3rd. And I got through that, that was interesting. And then the next day, though, the doctor said, if I feel like training, go ahead. And you can see the video on my Instagram. I half field squatted 750 that day.
Yeah.
So
even before all this happened, after OSG and a couple of weeks before at the Olympia Expo at the Rhino cage, Nick went in there and deadlifted 600 pounds for 15 straight reps. All right. Like, he went in there and it was a big draw. Everybody was looking, everybody was watching, and Nick, he, right off top, I was there, I was watching, and he redid his grip and then pumped out another 5. And it's like, how many people can really stop the momentum and then knock out another 5 with 600 pounds?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's good. And I feel very blessed. I'm very excited. The doctor got me in. We did the surgery. And after the surgery, I can tell you what, there's basic things that we do every day that we take for granted. Mm-hmm. Things like burping, things like farting, things like taking a poo.
I take a lot of advantage of these items.
Yeah, but we forget how easy and how naturally they come.
Yeah, and right now that's a tough one now, brother.
Yeah. Well, they blow your stomach up with the apparatus and with the robot when they do it, and they get your stomach real distended full of air, and then they tie all the kidney stuff off, and then they take the kidney out, and they made the big incision and take it out. But when they're done and they put everything back together, all that air is still in your abdomen, and you can't fart it out, you can't burp it out. It has to be absorbed by your body.
Ugh.
And so that's a little not fun. But it goes away in about 2-3 days completely. But I still had a lot of gas in my stomach that every time I drank or whatever, I couldn't burp. So the lady's like, well, if you get up and start moving around, you'll be able to do that. And I'm like, I'm not thinking, they just took out my kidney, whatever. So she helped me up out of bed, and I took the slowest walk in the world around the nursing station like 8 times. I looked like Tim Conway on the Carol Burnett show, just the little steps, just pushing my IV around the thing. But in about the second lap, I started burping, started feeling better, and so I was like, okay, this is a good thing. So every 2 hours, I was getting up and doing that. And she's just like, yeah, you're not staying very long. I'm like, well, okay. And,
perfect.
And about 6 p.m., they're just like, all right, I took one more walk. And then she comes in, yeah, we're letting you go in an hour. You're going home. I'm like, oh, sweet. So I got to come home.
That's it.
And then got back here and then just kept moving around. And finally the next day, I wake up and you just feel that moving in your stomach. Because your intestines are you can feel it moving, and finally I let some gas go, and oh my God, the next morning when I woke up, it was such a relief to feel that
brother,
pressure release.
We're all of us are extremely, and of course your family, your friends, all your fans, we're all very, very happy and grateful that everything went smooth and you're okay, and that's what's the most important, brother. So
Thanks.
For those of you that are enjoying the show, we got Nick for plenty of episodes yet to come.
Gonna be around a while.
That's it.
Gonna be around a while.
That's it.
Yeah, well, so the doc was telling me, because of the size of the tumor and where it is, it's not painful. You don't know it. I wasn't having any of the normal effects that would let you know it's there.
Yeah, symptoms.
I wasn't having any of the symptoms. I wasn't bleeding. I didn't have any of the problems. And the tumor could have did one of two things. It could have grew so big it burst the kidney, which if it does that, you bleed out in about 50 seconds. Yeah. Or it could have spread all over the place, and we'd find out about that when I'm having symptoms somewhere else. And then at that point, it's extremely hard to stop. So all in all, I feel very blessed. Never thought dropping a bar on the chest would
I was going to say,
it
all exactly right. It all comes back to dropping that bar. That bar came out of your hand for a reason, and we are all very thankful that it did so. So that being said, brother, that's it. So Ben, why don't you turn a corner and talk about some updates with Ak? Start that story.
Well, Akim, right off top, with the placings and the way everything went, man, you look phenomenal. Like you were looking dry, you were looking real thin in the skin. Like your glutes and your hams in the couple of the pictures you posted on social media were just looking phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? We're looking phenomenal. You know, and the Olympia, it seemed to be weird because like the Olympia started later in the day. And it like literally went to midnight. So I can only imagine what the effects would have been for you guys. And it's like I'm not backstage, so I can't see, but it's just like I was hearing things that like were not favoring the competitors like you.
Yeah, I mean, brother, there was a lot of people. I mean, that was a huge show, and you know, you looked fucking awesome, brother. It's just obviously somehow with that many competitors, and I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it, but I don't like the fact that I believe it. I think that social media and the people that choose to stay really active on social media are getting more attention than they probably should. And I know you like to let your physique do the talking, but I feel that in this scenario, the fact that you weren't posting constantly like a lot of the other guys didn't get you that, you know, that look like I believe you should have had. So, you know, that kind of blows, brother. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that definitely hurt me also. You know, I think the times have changed, and a lot of these guys, you know, they use the social media platform to get momentum going into those big shows. And I think I have to get with the times. I have to, you know, be better about that. Be more consistent with like posted updates and stuff like that. You know, because that's the kind of route that, especially a big show like that. You know, everybody want to see what you look like, and gone are the days where, you know, you keep everything on the wraps and you just show up for the show. So
yeah, like Dorian Yates.
Yeah.
Blow them off the stage.
The days where someone could stay hidden in their basement gym and then show up and blow everybody off the stage are over. You know, I mean, it's kind of, I mean, if you think about it nowadays with social media, people posting, it's almost like, you know, what's the old saying? The squeaky wheel gets the oil. You know,
basically,
and if someone's really, and you also got to figure too that the more that a person is, more of the competitors posted and moving the emotions of fans and whatnot, it's just it's kind of a ripple effect.
Exactly.
You know?
With the Arnold coming up, what do you think you're going to do a little different than at the Olympia?
Well, for this Olympia, I primarily, you know, did everything myself. You know, I had some help from my friend Abdullah. You know, he helped me with like diets and stuff like that. But you know, I was training myself and everything like that. But this time around, I'm not allowed to say who I'm working with.
We'll keep that.
I'm glad I kept my mouth shut because I heard a little birdie told me who that was. So I'm glad I didn't speak too soon.
Exactly. Yeah. So I gotta keep it a secret, and you know, I'm looking forward to, you know, the package I'm gonna bring for the Arnold, because you know. Well, also I think I gotta, you know, be more proactive about posting on social media in terms of like update photos and stuff like that. So. We'll see.
Well, I will say that the help that you've got in terms of a coach, Ak, this guy is known to be a bit of a magician. So I'm really excited to see what's going on. You know, you're huge, and it's not like he's got to do a whole lot with you. And I've seen what he's done with some guys that need a lot of help. So I can't wait. So. Yeah, what about talk a little bit about the rules change in the IFBB too. Now they kind of changed that to where people aren't. You either got to win a show or you're not pointing yourself in. You're not earning points to get anymore.
One of the things that really set us back for the Olympia, not really set us back, but like what was a big, I wouldn't want to say issue, but it's the amount of competitors that was at the Olympia. You know, they had up to like 32 guys.
So many guys,
yeah. So I think that is part of the reason why they maybe did the rule change.
Yeah.
So for the audience out there that don't understand what I'm talking about, in the past, there was based on a point system. which means you place top 5 in any shows, you get points towards Miss Olympia. The competitors with the highest points, top 3 highest points, would automatically get an invite to the Miss Olympia or qualify for the Miss Olympia. However, because of the huge amount of competitors we had in 2022, they decided to change the rules a little bit, I guess, and make it where only winners get to qualify for the Olympia. So you win a show, you automatically get an invite. You know.
So what do you think? You agree with that? You agree with the rule change?
Not really, to be honest with you, because I feel like, you know, if that was the case, then there shouldn't be no top 5. There should just be a winner and that's it. Because what's the point of like, you know, distinguishing places 1 or 2 to places 2 to 5th? You know, what's the point of distinguishing in that? You know, is that you're not going to get anything towards it. So I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, I did like the point system because back in 2019, I didn't win a show. I qualified for points at the shows that I did, and I was able to go to the Miss Olympia and beat a lot of the competitors at one show.
Yeah.
So, you know, exactly. So I think it actually gives you a chance. Just because you didn't win a show doesn't mean you're not going to do well at the Miss Olympia. But I guess they decided to go a different direction.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the fact that the Olympia was mid-December and Arnold is right around the corner, but more importantly, you know, guys had to diet through Christmas. What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't like it. I liked it when there was a baby back in November in Tampa, Florida. You know, no disrespect to Vegas.
No.
I like the Olympia in Florida, but it was actually cold out there, man. It was actually cold in Las Vegas and New Jersey. So that tells you.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. When I came back to New Jersey, I was actually shocked at how nice it was compared to Las Vegas being really cold. Like we were backstage and it was so cold backstage.
No, I remember walking from building to building just across the street, and I was like, Jesus Christ, it was I couldn't get back inside fast enough. You're correct. I just figured New Jersey would be colder than that.
No, New Jersey was actually warmer than Las Vegas. It was actually so weird, man. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
so what do you think in terms of what's up, Nick?
We do get our cold spells from time to time.
Yeah, you guys had a cold
So
spell.
you got right in the middle of one of them today.
Yeah, I know.
That's right. Nick's got to defend the home turf. That's right.
No, come on. I didn't say anything bad about this.
No, I know. You're fine. You're fine.
So what do you think in terms of the lineup? Obviously, we're talking about, you know, top guys, but do you feel like having that the Olympia and Christmas and Arnold all be so close together, do you think that's going to cause a problem?
I mean, if you look at the lineup for the Arnold right now, I think right now, because of 2 guys dropping out, I think it's probably about 6 competitors right now. I'm not sure if they're going to add more competitors to it, but a lot of these guys, you know, doing shows, everybody knows, you know, doing shows back to back is pretty hard. You know, especially doing a big show like the Miss Olympia where you put everything into your prep. And then to turn around and go back on the Arnold stage, you know, that's definitely going to be tough. So I think it definitely hurt the Arnold a little bit. Like a lot of the guys, top guys from the Olympia didn't want to go to the Arnold.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which makes it good for you.
Makes
it very good for you. Plus you have the experience of going through the dieting and keeping the condition longer. So I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Plus prize money, that's pretty good too. So
yeah, exactly.
Both. Yeah.
So how are you feeling with obviously finishing the Olympia, going through Christmas, and obviously having to dive right back into the fire? How are you feeling, bro? You feeling good?
Yeah, well, for the Olympia, you know, I had to just, you know, put it in the past and not really dwell on it too much. You know, of course I didn't like my placing and everything like that. But, you know, I'm like, you know what, just chalk it up to part of the game and keep moving, and I'm ready to get back on stage and prove myself for the Arnold. So that's the goal moving forward, you know.
You know, we all got to remind ourselves that failure is a part of the equation to be successful. You're never going to be successful. I'm not talking about any one person, anyone. Mm-hmm. You're never going to be successful at having those failures. The failures is where you learn. The failures is sometimes just where it just gets you fired up to put enough effort into the next go to get what you need. So You know, sometimes after having something go down where you're not happy is the fuel to make something, you know, turn out where you're very happy, brother. So I think you're just going to carry, like you said, you put it behind you, you're going to carry that. You're just going to carry that frustration, if there's any left, right into the Arnold.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, somebody once told me, how can you appreciate winning if you never experienced losing?
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
That's it. That is true.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, that's a wise man right there.
That's it. All these young competitors need to hear that.
Yep.
That's
Oh
it.
boy.
That's it. So that being said, everyone, there you have it. We've got a kind of off the cuff update for you from some of our hosts here at Legends of Iron. We're always here to help you be the best version of yourselves, help you register and understand that even some of the shortcomings you have in your life, your training, whatever it is, they can sometimes be the most helpful, most uplifting things. Literally, Nick here is alive because of a weightlifting accident. And so please don't ever forget that good and bad are never too far apart. You know, sometimes something really good happens and bad's right behind it, or vice versa. But more importantly, just remember, there's always a silver lining. Even though something really sucks, look closely. There's going to be some lesson you can learn from that trouble, that failure, to carry on and to turn it into a major success in your life. So there you have it, everyone. There's another edition of Legends of Iron. We appreciate you watching and listening. We will see you next time.
Good night.
Legends of Iron is brought to you by Muscle Mix.
Eating like a bodybuilder is not cheap. I mean, have you seen the recent cost of steaks lately? Thankfully, I'm able to get all my meals in and hit my macros for just a fraction of the price with Carnivore Lean Meal, Muscle Med's newest innovative whole food meal replacement.
Compare Carnivore Lean Meal to a typical bodybuilding meal. Carnivore Lean Meal stacks up in protein and carbs with none of the fat, but a carnivore shake is only about $3 per meal.
Get my 6 meal in. This is what I use right here. This is meal number 6. It's my Carnivore Lean Meal. It's a combination of carbs combined with protein. It's actually made from real sweet potatoes and white potatoes, so can't beat that. Tastes awesome. Love that product.
And to top it all off, guys, it's lactose free and sugar free. Stop overpaying for your meals and eat clean with Carnivore Lean Meal. It's better than any meal you can cook yourself at a fraction of the price.